Welcome, future agents. Let's get right into it. I know the dense legalese of Florida Statutes Chapter 475 can feel completely overwhelming, but in this explainer, we're going to break it down into a highly testable, easily masterable roadmap.
Look, let's just address the elephant in the room right off the bat. This test is notoriously tough, and a failing Pearson VUE score report highlights just how real test day anxiety can be. But hey, with focused, active recall and by understanding exactly how the state structures its questions, you won't be seeing a failing score on your exam day. We're going to make sure of that.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're hitting the regulatory alphabet soup, stepping inside the FREC, breaking down the 3 license categories, mapping out your license lifecycle, and finishing up with a rapid review exam quiz.
All right, Section 1, the regulatory alphabet soup.
So, to really understand the rules, you have to know who makes them. At the absolute top of the food chain is the DBPR, the Department of Business and Professional Regulation. Think of them as a massive umbrella department overseeing all professions across the entire state of Florida, not just real estate. You've got to memorize this top-down relationship. It's like a cascading waterfall. The DBPR is the umbrella at Step 1. Underneath them at Step 2 is the Division of Real Estate, or the DRE, and they provide the administrative services and funding. Finally, down at Step 3, we have the FREC, the Florida Real Estate Commission. These are the actual decision makers crafting the rules you absolutely must follow.
Moving right along to Section 2, inside the FREC.
Let's zoom in on those decision makers, because the state loves to test you on their specific makeup. Watch out for this distinction on exam day. There are exactly 7 members on the FREC. Burn that number 7 into your brain. And they're appointed by the governor, confirmed by the Senate for 4-year terms.
So, who actually sits in those 7 seats? Well, 4 seats go to highly experienced brokers who have been active for at least 5 years. 1 seat goes to a newer broker or sales associate active for at least 2 years. 2 seats are strictly for everyday, unlicensed consumers, just regular folks. And pay close attention to this classic exam trap. At least 1 member across any of these categories must be 60 years of age or older.
Now, beyond who they are, you really need to know what they do. To memorize their 4 administrative powers, use this awesome memory aid. Elephants quietly quit marching. EQQM. That stands for executive, quasi-legislative, quasi-judicial, and ministerial powers. Seriously, write that acronym at the very top of your scratch paper the second your exam begins. Okay, on to Section 3, the 3 license categories. Let's bring this down to your specific license. A classic exam trap, and they get people with this all the time, is confusing a sales associate with a broker associate. An entry-level sales associate must perform acts under the direction of a broker, but a broker associate, they actually have all the qualifications of a full broker, they just voluntarily choose to operate as an associate in the employ of another managing broker. Don't let the title trick you when it comes to their actual education and qualifications. And then, of course, there's the full broker. This is the individual who operates completely independently. For compensation, they appraise, auction, sell, exchange, buy, or rent property. They act as a fiduciary and carry the ultimate, bottom-line responsibility for the whole brokerage. Which brings us to Section 4, your license lifecycle. Because once you finally earn that license, it doesn't just sit in a drawer gathering dust, right? It goes through a whole life cycle. You start off active, meaning you're current and practicing. If you want to take a break, you can choose to be voluntarily inactive by applying directly to the state. But if you simply forget or fail to renew your license at the end of your period, you automatically become involuntarily inactive. And if you stay in that status for too long, your license becomes completely void. Now pay super close attention here, because the state wants to make absolutely sure you understand the consequences of slipping up. If you hit that involuntary inactive trigger by failing to renew, the absolute maximum time frame you can stay in that status is 24 months, 2 years. If you let those 2 years pass, your license automatically expires and becomes null and void. You literally have to start the entire education and testing process all over again from scratch, unless you can legally prove severe illness or economic hardship. Don't let that happen to you. All right, let's bring it home. Section 5, Rapid Review Exam Quiz. It's time to put down the highlighters and shift your brain into active recall mode. I'll read the question, give you a second, and then we'll check your answer. Quiz question 1. How many members sit on the FREC and how long are their terms? Got it. The answer is 7 members serving 4-year terms. And the reason for this is a strict statutory makeup designed for rotating commission governance.
Okay, question 2. What is the primary difference between a sales associate and a broker associate?
The answer is a broker associate has full broker qualifications, but actively chooses to work under another broker. Remember, the distinction relies entirely on their operating status, not their level of education.
Moving on to question 3. How long can a license remain involuntarily inactive before it becomes automatically void?
Exactly 2 years or 24 months. Section 475.183 dictates a strict 24-month limit. If you sleep on it for 24 months, your license is gone for good.
All right, final question to cement your knowledge. What is the EQQM memory aid for the 4 powers of the FREC?
You got this one. Elephants Quietly Quit Marching stands for executive, quasi-legislative, quasi-judicial, and ministerial powers. You now have the complete roadmap to the regulatory alphabet soup, the commission's makeup, and your license lifecycle. But remember, passing the exam is just day one. The real question is, once you have that active license in your hand, what kind of legacy are you going to build with it?